Tech Tools in the Second Grade Classroom. Hello, I'm Alice Lee. I teach second grade in Bethel, Maine. I'm here to share some of my favorite ways to use tech tools. Using my MacBook to connect with the world around us. That is my featured tech tool number 1. My laptop and GoToScience help me bring science to life for my students. Beth is a teacher and Curtis is a scientist. And they started a web-based science program for kindergarten to second grade students. They will be taking us on 3 different science missions this year. Our first mission is to Thailand. I will let them explain a little more about it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Go To Science. I'm Curtis, I'm a scientist.
I'm Beth, and I'm a teacher, and we're thrilled that you're joining us here in mobile headquarters from Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand is a country, and what we can show you on our globe.
Oh, I love this kind of map. It shows the whole world. The blue parts show where there's water, and the other colors show where there's land. We came from Maine. Right up here, it's yellow on this globe.
But it's not really yellow.
Not
in
really.
real life.
And then we traveled all the way to the other side of the planet to Thailand, which is sort of that pinky purple on this globe.
Yeah, it's not purple in real life either.
No, it's not. But we're here to test our hypothesis that there is a resident tiger population in Huay Kai Kang Wildlife Sanctuary.
And while that's easy for Beth to say, we often just shorten it to HKK. That makes it a little easier. Well, scientists have known for a while now that individual tigers pass through HKK from time to time. But what we don't know is if there's a resident population or a group that's living there.
After the introduction, they take us on an adventure in Thailand. And then they wrap up with questions live back at the headquarters.
Awesome questions. We see that the CPS second grade scientists are brought in to answer questions. And if you want to go to science, just type them over here, click submit, and we'll answer all that we can. Yeah, but I've got to get ready for my...
It was very exciting when they mentioned our names. Here are some other features I find when I use my MacBook to go to the GoToScience page. I use the pre-mission materials like the Birds in Thailand guide to keep track of the different birds Beth and Curtis are seeing. They bring up a mystery bird for us to discover on our own after the episode. We use the guide to figure it out. We have access to a 3D printer, and we're making a tiger print with the 3D file shared with us. We have links to dance, sing, and learning activities for brain breaks, and we're working on answering questions and publishing them to the Publish It page. Using the Smartboard for student engagement and formative assessment. The Smartboard is my featured tech tool number 2. As stated on page 70 in Teaching in the Digital Age, Smart Tools for Age 3 to Grade 3 by Brian Perling, when used intentionally, projectors can become an important instructional tool to jumpstart inquiry, support creativity, pursue inquiry concepts, dramatize stories, teach mathematics, share artwork and writing, and support academic learning with interactive whiteboards. On page 76, he states that using projectors can also be used to support documentation and assessment. The example I'm sharing with you is a follow-up activity in mathematics. After teaching students about odd and even numbers, I use a Smartboard for engagement and to formatively assess their progress. This is an example of using the Smartboard to project the game Kahoot. As you can see there, all the students showed understanding that the number 13 is an odd number. The game is engaging and fun. I used a polling feature to check for confidence level at the end of the game. I asked the students how they're feeling about odd and even. Some stated they need more practice, while others feel they know if a number is odd or even. Using the iPad for student engagement, documentation, and computer science skills, The iPad is my featured tech tool number 3. On page 206 in Brian Perling's book on digital tools, he discusses using mobile devices to exhibit learning. I'm using Seesaw, which is a digital portfolio. Brian states applications offer opportunities for parents and families to listen, watch, and interact with their child's progress and development. This is an example of using our iPad to document our computer science skills. For the unplugged lessons, we use the iPad to document our learning by using the camera to take pictures. We put our pictures in Seesaw to share our learning with family and friends. These are 3 examples of unplugged lessons from the Hello Ruby book: Ruby's Dance Loop, Universal Remote Control, and the Peanut Butter and Jelly Algorithm. The iPad documents computer science and computational thinking skills with both the unplugged and the plugged-in lessons. An example of using code.org to practice using our iPad.
Yeah, we can use nothing. 1, 2. Now.
On the left, this is a pair programming where they work together. One student tells the steps while the other makes it happen, and they both take turns at the different roles. On the right, the student is working on his own. They are working on progression of skills, algorithms, sequencing, loops, and debugging. Examples of how not to use technology: unsupervised, non-educational sites without a purpose as a babysitter, to do an open search. I think you really need to balance the screen time with other activities, and you should not have technology replace the teacher. On page 20 in Teaching in the Digital Age by Brian Perling, in classrooms, teachers and children can embrace new technologies to enhance the way they gather, share, analyze, create, apply, and assess information. The technologies available can be used in a whole host of ways that open doors to a multitude of possibilities. I believe the MacBook, Smartboard, and iPad are great examples. Opportunities, barriers to using these tools in my classroom. I am fortunate to be using these tools in my classroom. I'm very fortunate to have great Wi-Fi and access to all these tools. Barriers: our iPads are getting old and some of them have been having problems updating. We have talked with our new tech director about replacing some of the iPads. Smartboard projector maintenance needs to happen, and some of the bulbs are getting old, and we're keeping that in mind as a possible barrier if they break. Having students sign in can be a barrier. It can be cumbersome. And also making sure that students have a growth mindset and perseverance when using technology is important and can be a barrier when they don't have that correct mindset. Special thanks to Slides Carnival for this template. Photographs that were not mine were provided by Unsplash. Thanks to Go2Science for the footage. Kahoot, code.org for great learning for young students. Hello Ruby Adventures in Coding by Linda Lucas. And Teaching in the Digital Age Smart Tools for Age 3 to Grade 3 by Brian Perling. Great resources for my presentation.